Hey y'all. It is 12 noon. As you guys can see, you could tell I ain't been on Zoom or nothing today. I don't have a Zoom meeting until about 1:15 when I get off of my lunch. So I am officially on my lunch break. I like to say that first because I don't want people to be thinking I'm just acting all crazy. And I usually don't come on live during the middle of the day. But I wanted to talk about, and in my prayer time, and I did a post about it earlier when the Lord was talking to me about people who are prayer warriors or intercessors, or you have a life of prayer, to be very intentional over the next few months in our prayer time concerning depression and grief overtaking the land. I'm sure I don't have to remind you guys, this time last year, we were seeing rest in peace posts on social media literally, I can't even say every day, I'm going to say every 15 to 20 minutes, because that's how fast they were coming. And we were all stuck in the house, and people were completely overwhelmed with going on social media and constantly seeing the post. And this morning, in my time with God, He reminded me to let us not forget what happened this time last year, because some people think that we have arrived, and that because it's not like it was this time last year with us being completely locked in, and now that there's a vaccine, that everything is all good and people are doing great. And that is really not the case at all. We are now entering into a new pandemic, and I'm not talking about that COVID is over, but the fact that now people are dealing with depression and grief that has overtaken them. And we are now approaching that time where people will have to revisit that time. And now, people who weren't able to attend funerals and services last year, this year, a lot of people are doing memorials. So there's memorials posted up almost every day. People are having to relive this time. And this is a trigger for a lot of people. And so I just want us to be mindful and to consistently continue to pray for people, because we don't know what people are going through. You know, there's a lot of people who experienced a lot of loss. And so I don't want us to become so jaded in what we're dealing with in our own issues that we forget that there are people out there really dealing with real things. And March 2021 is just as hard as March 2020 for a lot of people. So I want to remind the real prayer warriors, because it ain't a lot of us, and the real intercessors, the ones who really um, have power with God, the ones who really are seeking God, not just for themselves, not for houses and cars, but really seeking God for His kingdom to be manifested here on this earth, to please continue to pray for people dealing with depression, people dealing with grief, during this time and this season. Only as I was praying this morning, I prayed against suicide. And I think we take that for granted, that people are really truly battling some things. And so I want to make sure that we, as people of, you know what, we as believers, because clearly Christians is a whole different, what you call it, as believers who really truly believe in the power of prayer, we have to stay on the wall for people who are dealing with grief, who are dealing with depression, especially because March is triggering a lot of emotional trauma for people who dealt with a lot in 2020. So I just wanted to come on and say that. I know I posted something earlier, but this is really an urgency. This is a 911. Stop praying about your house. Stop praying about your car. Stop praying about your next ministry assignment, and really truly start praying for people who need relief, who need assistance. Stop praying for yourself. Again, there's a time to pray for yourself, but people are really going to feel it over the next few months because, as I stated, of course, it's nice to have memorials for people because, of course, last year a lot of funerals were not able to happen. But this is going to be a trigger for people, especially people who've lost multiple people last year in a matter of days. There are a lot of people in New York that have lost leaders, that now they're doing memorial services even for leaders. They've lost multiple people in their churches. They've lost multiple people in their families. It is a 911 that if you have a prayer mantle on your life, if the Lord has assigned you to pray, and I'm not talking about praying for Cash App, because if you're going to put your Cash App to pray for people who are dealing with depression and grief, we don't need your prayers. And I'm not saying I'm depressed or anything of that nature. I'm talking about really pray for people, because people are going to be dealing with a lot during this time. Hey, Auntie. Oh, hey. We got to pray. People are dealing with a lot. Somebody just wrote on my post, they lost 22 people last year. 22. I know, I'm grateful and I thank God that, that's not my story. I do know some people who were lost in the pandemic, some family member as well, whatever, that we didn't get to funeralize all together as a family, but people have had multiple loss. And grief isn't just about losing just a person. People have lost jobs. People have lost their purpose. People have lost the things that they were passionate about. So let us not get so consumed with, this is my year, and the Lord told me this about my year, or I'm getting a new house or a new car, or I established my business, and we're not praying and doing what God has called us to do in this time, in this season, as believers. I believe, of course, when we do what God has assigned us to do, He will bless what your hands do. So let's stop praying about things that don't matter right now, and let's really truly get on assignment for what we're here for. Because if we're not going to do what God has called us here to do, then what are we really doing? What is our purpose here? So again, I'm not coming against anybody who got a business. I'm not coming against anybody who has a ministry. I'm not coming against anybody who has a request up to God concerning where you're going to live and all that other stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, let's be about our Father's business, and let's truly cover people in prayer. And you don't have to know them to cover them in prayer. You don't have to get on Facebook Live and make a grand announcement that you're praying for people dealing with depression and grief in prayer. Just pray. You don't have to put up your Cash App and say, whoever need prayer to inbox me. Just pray. Some of us, we use prayer as an attention mechanism. It's not about us. It's about God. Prayer is communication with Him. Prayer is not about what you can say in your fancy words and eloquence. And so I just wanted to say that, because I don't want some of us to get so consumed, and I'm saying us loosely, whatever, to get so consumed about all of these other things that's happening, a vaccine, a stimulus check, and all these other things, that we forget that people are dying daily in their minds and in their emotions. And they don't know what to do. And everybody doesn't have a therapist. Everybody doesn't have a counselor. Everybody doesn't even have a pastor. A lot of people lost their pastor. So let's continue to pray for them. Let's continue to hold them up. And again, like I said, no grand announcement, none of that other stuff, because if you're doing it off of that for vain publicity, then that's an issue. That's a problem. And so I just wanted to come on and say that. So if you have prayer lines or prayer groups or prayer at your church, or you're interceding, and even in your own personal time, just call out for people who are dealing with depression and grief and dealing with triggers in this season, because this is going to be a long couple of months for some people. And we don't want people to be lost for our lack of for us not being on the wall, for us not staying the course, for us not really truly interceding for people. And so I just wanted to say that I love you so very much, or whatever. I know you all are dealing with a lot, but sometimes the way for your breakthrough is to pray for somebody else's, and then the Lord will make a way of escape for you. So I love you all. I will see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Take care. Bye.